Antonio, and I hope you're sit tight, and I'm your host for this afternoon. I hope you're comfortable making decisions because today we're putting the future in your hands.
I'm Marcella, and today you're part owners of the Inanus Drift. That is like the cutting edge VR AR company that will change human experiences forever.
As shareholders, each of you will be voting to decide where you think this company and this technology should be headed. We will present you with choices, and you will raise your right hand in the air to cast your vote. Please only vote once for each choice we give you.
Hi, I'm Dylan, and I'm the most important person. I count your votes. So please make sure you are aware of where you are seated, what row you're in. Are you on the left side of the room? Are you on the right side of the room? Are you sitting next to someone who might vote opposite of you?
So we do have roll numbers. If you didn't, please, count that.
All right, so let's get started.
Okay, so NYU's Future Reality Lab is proud to announce the release of the Inanus Drift. Wow! The world's first low-cost, scalable, and surprisingly stylish AR/VR wearable.
With the Inanus Drift, users are able to experience mixed reality or full VR anywhere they please, with a full suite of applications and games from third-party developers available for download. Imagine seeing the weather outside through your glasses, being able to paint the Mona Lisa using nothing but your fingers. Welcome to the new world. Welcome to the Inanus Drift.
Okay, so now you have to decide how to release your technology to the world. So we're going to give you numbers, and these are the numbers. So the first option 1, is give it to the government to release to the public, making it tax supported. Option 2, sell it yourself at a low cost and support it with ads. And number 3, sell it yourself at a higher cost with no ad system.
We're going to give you a few seconds to look at the choices and make your choice, and we say who votes for number 1 first will raise their hands, then you'll lower it, and for number 2, lower it, 3, lower it, and so forth.
Are you guys ready? Can we do it?
All right. Who votes for choice number 1? Raise your right arm.
Okay.
All right, so who votes for number 2 option?
Higher, guys, higher. You need to count with your... Okay.
Oh, who votes for option number 3?
Like option.
Yeah. One hand. Okay, so there we go. Number 3. Okay. So congratulations! This new technology is now available to consumers at the very low price of $2,000. Unfortunately, not everyone can afford that. So, everyone.
5 through 8?
Yeah, that is on 5 through 8. You're not voting anymore. I'm so sorry.
This is why you should sit in the front of the room and listen to this. Now that you've released it, the Inanus Drift becomes wildly popular, and your shareholders urge you to pursue a path to increase sales and growth.
Okay, so what are you doing now? Are you implementing advanced technologies that improve the quality of the device but make it even more expensive? Or 2, are you improving accessibility for disabled users and begin to outreach an outreach program so that more users can have access to this technology? Or are we cutting down on features and costs to make the device affordable to more users?
Take a few seconds to think about your choice. And let's do it. Who votes for option number 1? We heard a very eager person there. Is everybody ready to vote?
Yeah, we got 3 votes.
Okay. Option number 2, accessibility. Who votes for that?
All right, we're good.
All right, and option 3.
You're not voting
People in
anymore,
the
you're
back,
back.
you guys don't have a voice anymore.
Okay. What was that, Dylan?
2.
So, number 2.
Accessibility.
Okay. So, users previously unable to use the Nano's Drift can now experience this device in all of its wonder. So, row 5 is voting again. But, you know, this costs some money, so the first row is not voting anymore. I'm sorry.
Users love these advances in technology and begin praising the Nano's Drift on social media. And shareholders say that the good press is great for growth. However, they push you to invest in new research areas to further improve your revenues. Internal research shows that either machine learning or R&D are the likeliest paths to help you hit your revenue targets.
Okay, so what are we doing? Are we introducing advanced machine learning to track user data and optimize satisfaction? Or are we pushing research and development for more advancements in hardware design and functionality?
Your choices, and who goes for option number 1? Raise your hand. Remember, vote 6 to 8 doesn't vote.
Okay.
Option 2. Raise your hand.
There's our winner.
There's our winner.
Okay. Oh, guys, I'm sorry, but your market research was wrong in predicting you'd continue to be profitable. Oh, no.
You invested lots of capital in your research and development efforts, and now you have to file for bankruptcy.
Yay!
Shortly thereafter, the press discovers that the topmost executives at your company have been redirecting money intended for R&D to private accounts in the Caymans. Your public reputation takes a huge hit, and your executives are jailed. The front left cannot vote, so Veronica.
But it's the second one now, so it's the second.
Yeah. From Stefan on, you can't vote anymore, sorry.
Yeah, guys, you're horrible.
Just that round?
Well,
Can we vote? Sorry.
no, yeah.
I
it's
You
just-
still can't vote.
I can vote.
Can I vote? Yeah, you guys, the volume on where you can vote. Rows 3 through 5 can vote. Everyone else can't vote.
Yeah. Well, so after a major reconstructing in the executive team is completed, you must decide the future of the company. So are we selling the company to a much larger organization who can revamp the technology into the future? Or are we engaging in a massive recruiting campaign to find the most talented people in virtual reality to guide the company into the future? We need to go to the future, guys.
All right, so if you guys are ready, let's see who votes for option number 1. Campaign around and people on your side.
Okay, so number 2. Oh,
No clear winner.
yes, we're selling. Okay, so you were able to sell the company for $25 billion. Woo! Making yourself, your partners, and shareholders really rich. Not
However,
really.
the competition in the market is great, and poor direction of your new parent company causes it to lose market share. The parent company decides to stop manufacturing the Nano's Drift. They absorb the team members and intellectual property you've generated over the years into other divisions. Less scrupulous businesses, Amazon, than yours begin introducing behavioral control algorithms into their products, and slowly, the majority of the population become literal slaves to their headsets.
Wow, congratulations, guys. So your project has been killed off and is no longer available to the public because you failed and society turned into a dystopia.
We might have enough time to do it again if we want to. No? Pass. Okay.
Okay, but, well, if you guys want to do it, we have it online if you want to discover the other endings.
How many possible endings?
What?
How many possible endings?
Should we say it?
You gotta find out.
Yeah. Well, and before we go to Q&A, I just wanted to, well, I cannot, have this opportunity and not talk about what's going on in Brazil. So I just wanted to acknowledge what's going on in my country, and it's pretty messed up. So I would love if you guys would give a few minutes of your time later on to watch this video that is just like this wonderful woman talking about what's going on in Brazil right now. So yeah, that's it. Thank you. Oh.
Another Brazilian.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna leave it there, and then we can talk.
Okay.
And by the way, just on the Brazilian thing, you should watch this. Also, John Oliver did a really spectacular piece on the Brazilian election, so you should take a look at that. You have that on YouTube. Now, I thought that was really brilliant.
Thanks.
That was really fun. And the beginning, the first question really, and I mean, not that everything isn't brilliant, but I was just thinking if this was a really serious game, then I remember the first question, I think everybody took a long time thinking about because it was a really hard decision. Did you think whether to let the government or whatnot? I mean, that was the hardest one for me. I shouldn't be talking. How did you come up with this? How did you come up with the idea?
We're brainstorming a lot in our meetings, meeting together, our first meeting together, and it's hard to know, but we came up with, there was an idea of reading sort of news stories and then gamifying it, and then we put that together somehow, and at the end of our discussion, it just came together somehow.
Yeah, we just had like many of the concepts in this thing that also like from the future reality that was the actual thing we wanted to talk about, but like the shared experience and everything, we just thought, and also we talked a little about like our skills and what we could do as a group, and we thought that this was probably the best thing that we could do with the skills that we had together.
Yeah, and also just in response to you talking about the beginning thing, that was in the Q&A Ken mentioned, is like there are 3 ways that technology can be supported. So we were like, that's an obvious starting point for us.
I thought they were a good question.
Stefan?
Hi, yes, I'm Stefan. That was so fun. I really had a blast participating in that. We only saw one branch of that story, but I'm wondering if the way that you wrote it, there is sort of what you consider to be the like optimal path, and if so, could you talk about what it is and sort of why you feel that way?
It's a communist utopia.
Yeah, for me, I mean, we have many different, the first thing that we said is like, we want to go absurd in all of the paths. So, we do have the communist utopia somewhere. You can just go find out.
People say it's about the journey, and I think the funnest part of it is seeing what happens in the room and what parts of the story come together. So I think the journey is also part of it.
Mike over here. This is Adi. Thanks for that. That was fun to participate in. I was wondering if you could explain a little bit the link between the events and the cutting off of the voting population. Like, what is it about making it unaffordable or making it very expensive? How does that change what the shareholders do or who can vote?
So if you make a product too expensive, certain people can't vote, can't buy it, and they lose. There may be a little disconnect, a small disconnect there. That you are shareholders, but maybe you couldn't buy more shares, and people couldn't buy it. We were thinking about along those lines.
Yeah, one thing Ken talked about a lot was, how you need to participate in the future of this technology to make sure it goes down the right path. And I think something we wanted to touch on is that, it's really difficult for most people to participate in the development of anything. So we pretty quickly just wanted to eliminate people from doing that.
Cool. That makes sense. Thanks.
This is Ashley, I have the microphone. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for putting it together. Particularly because I loved last week's talk, and I've been using Perl and noise for like many, many years, so I'm a big fan of Ken's work, but like I was very frustrated, as were like several other students I spoke to in the room, about the total lack of, even like the total lack of acknowledgement about privilege and power, and how it pertains to innovative tech, or like imagining the future of technology, and like who that demographic becomes when you don't consider those ethics at all. So I thought that today your presentation did a beautiful job of like tying us back to, without being overt about it in a way, tying us back to like accessibility and privilege, and I appreciate that a lot. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I would say good job. This is one of the best group activities I think we have so far. Like, I think you designed pretty well that everyone is involved in this, and because we're curious about how our choice is gonna, like where it's gonna lead us to, and I think it mimics the society in some way. I'm just curious about how you guys define the options and the result, where it leads to. Like, how did you define that?
There's this storytelling app called Twine. Some of you might have heard of. It basically just like you can generate a choose your own adventure story in HTML in it. So I kind of just made a story outline in there, and it's super easy. I didn't have to diagram anything at all.
Yeah, we're just like, basically we talked about the concepts that we wanted and this kind of absurd thing that was happening in the end. And then we just, developed the paths. Actually, in the beginning we had pretty much, they were pretty similar. And then when we were, developing and saying like, hey, this would make more sense like that. So it started like opening up to other things that you can see if you go to the link.
Yeah,
I ended up reinventing in diagram form what Twine does for the visual users. So I had a little drawing of the thing in line drawing in front of me when I was doing my part of the writing. So something like that is helpful. If you don't have Twine, you can draw little squares and below other squares.
And I think when we started, we were like, after our first brainstorm session, we knew what we wanted to start with, and we knew what we wanted to end with. So going from there was just kind of filling in the blanks.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask what you guys
Say your name.
Oh, I'm Lo Ming. Hello. I just wanted to ask what you guys thought would be the ending that we would vote on.
I don't know, I didn't expect anything. Honestly. We tried with a few people here did that already.
Most of our testers chose this path initially. I'm disappointed. It's a very capitalist group of people.
No, but